Welcome back to my Transformers Prime episode reviews. Today, we're taking a look at the 3-part Season 2 premiere, Orion Pax. Following the events of One Shall Rise, Optimus has lost his memories from when he was a Prime and reverted back to his former identity, Orion Pax, who is now allied with his old BFF Megatron and the Decepticons, leaving the Autobots to find a way to restore their heroic leader back to himself. We learn Optimus giving Jack the key to Vector Sigma was his backup plan.
It grants access to Vector Sigma, the repository of the wisdom of the Primes.
Obviously, the whole Matrix being filled with wisdom thing is a nod back to G1.
The wisdom of the ages, it's lost. No, not lost. We're all a little wiser now. But the Matrix is empty. It's up to all of us to fill it again.
Which one's the big V? Over here? Somewhere in back?
Big V? Did Jack predict, you know what? As that coincidentally is what my buddy Protoman refers to it as in his videos. Megatron lies to Orion and says that the warmonger Ratchet is the one who killed Cybertron. Calling Ratchet a warmonger would have sounded far-fetched prior to a couple episodes ago.
So you mean Jack's like some kind of honorary Prime?
See? Maybe he is Jackimus Prime, which still sounds very wrong.
Maybe Optimus believes there's more to Jack than meets the eye.
Why don't I have a facepalm expression yet? If I did, I would definitely use it here. Sierra visits Jack at work.
What are you talking about? We have chemistry together. Class. Chemistry class.
Yep, I definitely need to add a facepalm expression to my OC's library.
5 p.m., Jack. Your shift is over. Let's go.
Oh, that kind of stuff.
Sierra, wait! She's my mother.
Oh, so now Jack has 2 moms? Lucky.
Your mom looks good in leather.
Maybe Breakdown isn't the only one who's bi in this series. Also, does this technically make RC a MILF?
Roll out.
This is interesting. So it seems that in Optimus's absence, Ratchet has assumed command. I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't get a scene like the one in the Beast Wars episode that I reviewed yesterday, where they voted on who should be their new leader. I would have voted for RC, but hey, that's just me. RC manages to slip through the Decepticons' ground bridge, and she races through the halls of the Nemesis searching for the Big O, as Knockout referred to him as. But unfortunately, Soundwave uses the ground bridge to send her back to the Arctic.
What the?
RC must really not like the cold.
Bulkhead? What? You needed that?
It seems Bulk has become aware of Ratchet's catchphrase. The Autobots plan to use the Decepticon space bridge for their own purposes, which feels very reminiscent of G1, and how sometimes the Autobots would borrow the Decepticon space bridge when they needed a quick trip to Cybertron, like in the last G1 episode I reviewed. Starscream sneaks on board the Nemesis in order to steal some energon, where he runs into Orion Pax, and he manages to sow some seeds of doubt in his head before the Vehicons chase him off the ship. Meanwhile, Ratchet is trying to soup up their ground bridge into a space bridge.
It takes eons to master space bridge engineering.
It's too bad Prime Bulkhead isn't a space bridge genius like his animated predecessor. I'm sure he'd have no problem with this. So Starscream contacts the Autobots for medical aid in exchange for information. And I kind of love Wildcard Starscream. He reminds me of Loki. Maybe I should do a video comparing Loki to Starscream. The two characters do have a lot in common. Back on board the Nemesis, Orion Pax Googles himself.
Oh, Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobot invaders.
It may say Optimus Prime, but that image is clearly that of Ultra Magnus, foreshadowing his appearance later in the show. Much later, as, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he actually shows up until next season.
I reminded Starscream of him?
Well, you are Repaint Brothers. So the Autobots commandeer the Decepticon space bridge, and Jack becomes the first human to set foot on Cybertron.
This isn't how I wanted you to see my home.
I'm sorry.
Breakdown calls the space bridge, and since he'd recognized Bulkhead or Ratchet's voices, and B's not really an option, they patch in Agent Fowler for an amazing homage to that scene from the original Star Wars, which just makes me squee with joy.
But it's fine now. How are you?
Everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
On Cybertron, RC and Jack are being stalked by an Insecticon, which I believe is the first time we've seen one of them in this series. RC holds off the Insecticon as Jack journeys towards Vector Sigma, which unfortunately is not a big golden golf ball like in G1, but instead is just kind of a giant Cybertronian version of one of those orbital desk toys. Although from the Scraplets view, it looks like the more traditional Vector Sigma is at its center. It's just hard to make out with all the glowy effects on top of it. Back on Earth, Megatron arrives at the space bridge, but even 3-on-1, the Autobots are no match for the former Gladiator. And I kind of love how if there's one thing an Insecticon is afraid of, it's Scraplets. Fight a pest with a pest, I guess. The wisdom of the prize finally finishes downloading, and RC and Jack make their way to the space bridge. But Megatron is waiting on the other side. However, he is confronted by Orion Pax, who faces off against his former friend. Jack uses the key to restore the Matrix of Leadership and Orion Pax's memories, and he is once again back to being Optimus Prime.
Megatron, be gone.
And this episode ends with all the Autobots finally returning home. Well, this was a great multi-parter. I loved the little moments with Starscream, Ratchet, and Bulkhead, and Agent Fowler pulling a Han Solo. But if I had one complaint, it's that I wish there was more of Orion Pax and Megatron being pals. Megatron was all business. Would it have killed them to put in something? Some kind of little reference to their history together? The two were supposed to be buddies. They don't have any old stories to share? Oh well. Let me know what you thought of Orion Pax down in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, and do all that other fun stuff. And I'll see you here next week for yet another multi-parter, Operation Bumblebee. Oh, Primus. Well, at least this one's only 2 parts. So I'll see you back here next week for that.